Welcome to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Brianna Faringer, an attorney, spiritual guide, and wealth activator. I'm here to help you align your mindset for abundance and break through any glass ceilings with money. If you're ready to embrace your highest calling, manifest with more ease, and create a life that feels lighter and more aligned, then let's dive in. Hello, welcome to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Brianna. I hope you're having an amazing day. The topic I'm going to talk about today is what I call the urgency trap. And this is urgency around money that is either being created by people outside of us or is being created by something inside of us. And it's actually arises in situations where there is no actual urgency, right? And so there's a distinction between situations that are urgent because they have to be dealt with immediately. Most things in our lives are not urgent, but what happens a lot is I see this with people just a lot with when they purchase things from other people, and this has happened to me before, but they make decisions around urgency that is being created by the other person. I'm going to, of course, get into some detail about what that means, but this is really focused on areas where you can save money. And this is what I have found is when you stop making decisions in your life and stop spending money around urgency, when it's really not even an urgent situation, you're going to save a lot of money and you're going to make more aligned choices in your life with money. And a place that I see this come up a lot is with coaching, but this is certainly not the only place that it comes up. This is going to come up anytime somebody is trying to sell you something and they are creating urgency around it, or anytime like you're trying to find something that you want to buy, whether it's coaching service, whether it's personal development, whether it's a physical product, not making choices to spend money just because either you've decided consciously or subconsciously that it's urgent, like, oh, I have to get this thing now, or I have to fix this, or because somebody else is saying, oh, well, this is only going to be available at this price for a certain amount of time. And I'm going to get into, very specifics of both, specific details and scenarios for both, so you understand the difference. But I do see this a lot, and it's come up in my life, and it's come up several times recently, where I've had people who have tried to get me to spend money with them, and they're creating this urgency, which I get. It's a good sales tactic, by the way. I'm not slamming anybody that does this because I think it's important to sell as well, which I'll talk about the flip side of that. But just making sure that you are not making decisions about money based on other people's timelines, right? That's a rule that I have. I will not make decisions about how I spend money around other people's timelines. If somebody else is creating urgency for me and then I'm like, oh, this is just not an aligned purchase for me, because I will not work on other people's timelines. There are exceptions to that rule, and I'll talk about that, but this is really becoming aware about what true urgency is in the world of money and business. So there's a very big difference between an actual urgent situation like a deadline or a necessity or something that arises that has to be dealt with immediately, and what I would say is called manufactured urgency, something that we are creating for ourselves because we're like, I need to do this, or I need to fix this thing, or I need to I'm wanting something to come into my life and I'm wanting it to happen soon. It creates this urgency that's not real. And then it makes us spend money. This urgency that we've created, it causes us to spend money in places where it's not aligned. And I don't like to use the word should or shouldn't, but it does cause us to spend money when we shouldn't, or we don't necessarily need to. And again, when I give you some specific scenarios, this is going to make a lot more sense, but it really matters because urgency that we are creating for ourselves or urgency that other people are creating for us, which is an illusion, it distorts our intuition, it creates misalignment in the decisions that we make, and it drains money. So a lot of people will make decisions around urgency, which is not even true urgency, and then they end up being like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. And so this is like some of the stuff I'm talking about, is recognizing where in your life you are experiencing spending money because of something that's not a true urgency. So The first thing I want to talk about is external urgency. So this is when other people are creating urgency around something, a purchase. This is like a scarcity based marketing tactic, right? Where people are like, buy now or the price is going to double, or there's only one spot left, get it now, you're never going to see it at the same price. These sales tactics work, and I am not suggesting that they're not good tactics. If you use this in your business, you can continue to use them. I will say there is a part of me, I don't I don't like doing this. I do it occasionally, but I do it very, very, very rarely. I don't like to create urgency for people. And the reason is my belief is people are going to buy from me if it's aligned, no matter what the price is. And I'm not going to create a sense of urgency for people because I don't want them to feel like they have to buy with me just because, oh, the price is going to go up, right? It's a tactic that doesn't really align for me as a person, as somebody who sells my services. That's just not how I work. I've done it occasionally, but I just don't like it. And honestly, I will tell you, if it's any type of tactic or strategy that you're implementing in your business or otherwise, if it doesn't feel good, it doesn't matter. Like you're not going to be successful at it if your energy isn't behind it. And so I think that's one thing. But like for me, when I see people using these tactics, I know that they work, but the thing that does it raises for me is that a lot of people are just buying things because they have this fear that they're not going to be able to get it later. So these are really designed to activate fear for people, not create clarity. For me, I would much rather a person work with me because it's aligned, not because I'm offering a discount or because I'm telling them, oh, this program's never going to be available at this price again. Now, there is some merit to doing that in the sense that like you might just like for me when I do that, it's because I'm actually trying to give people information and let them know, hey, prices are going up. So if you want to get it at this price, get it now. But there are people that do this on purpose to create fear in people. And I think the intention that you're doing it with matters. But this shows up a lot in the coaching space. And again, it's a tactic that works, but what I would be aware of as a buyer, a consumer, somebody that's, if you're purchasing coaching services, which a lot of people are, I purchase coaching services from other people. I don't call my services coaching, but something similar. I'm more of a guide than a coach. But if you're a person that buys from other people, whether it's services or products, I just would be very aware about whether or not you're making a purchase out of scarcity or out of fear that you're just not going to be able to get this thing, which is usually not true, by the way. And so there's this illusion that there's a discount and that now is the only chance to get it. My belief and the way that I live my life, and I said this before, I refuse to make purchases based around other people's timelines and urgency. If other people are creating an urgency for me where it doesn't feel right, I just know that I'm not going to buy from them. And I'm going to give you an example. So this actually happened recently. I purchased a session from this woman who's a coach and an intuitive, and she's great. And I wanted to do one session with her. I wasn't really intending to buy anything beyond that with her, not for any reason other than I wanted to do one session with her and just see how it went. So I did the session with her, and on the call, she was trying to get me to commit to buying long-term packages with her, as she should. She's running a business and she needs to make money, and of course she should try to sell people on it. So I'm by no means trying to criticize what she was doing, because it's exactly what she should do. But she basically was trying to sell me on these packages and was creating urgency around it in the sense that she said something along the lines of, going to be traveling a lot and I'm not going to be as available. So if you don't do it now, like you might not get it, kind of a thing. That's fine. Like for me, I knew kind of immediately that it wasn't something I was going to do, not because of her, but because I'm not in a place right now where I want to commit to a 3 or 4 month commitment with somebody. I have a lot going on in my life. I have so many things that I'm juggling. For me to commit to something like that doesn't feel aligned. But I would love to, I love doing one-on-ones, where other people are giving me, either intuitive guidance or coaching services. I love receiving. And I love it when I can just buy a package or, excuse me, a session here or there from a person if I'm not in a space to do a long-term package or program. But doing a program right now is not aligned for me. I just don't want to do it. But the interesting thing was, I knew that. And there was like this little thing in my brain that was like, should I just do it? Like this, like, should I just, excuse me, sorry about that. Should I just buy it because I would want to work with her at some point, and now is as good as any? Like, I kind of had this back and forth with myself. And I think that's just an example of giving consideration to something. I said to her, I'm not going to make a decision this week. And she was really pushing me to make a decision. And I basically, in my mind, I'm like, look, I'm not on your timeline. I didn't say that to her, but that's what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm not on your timeline. I'm on my timeline. So I said to her, I'm not going to be able to make a decision until next week. And she said, I need to know by the end of the week. And I thought to myself, well, that pretty much seals the deal for me, because I'm not going to be rushed just because that's what you are looking to do. And that's, again, that's the way she works. And I completely appreciate it. And I think that, like, she should continue to do that because that works for her. But the thing is, I refuse to spend money and make decisions because other people are creating urgency around it. And that's what I'm talking about, is when other people are doing things that make you think like it's now or never. If somebody says now or never to me, I'm like, goodbye, I'm out. Because for me, I know how I work and I need to have a little bit of time to consider it. And when I say consider it, I don't mean think about it. I mean, feel into the decision I want to make. I don't make decisions based on my mind. I make decisions based on my body, which I've said on this podcast many times. I want to have enough time and space to be able to sit with it and close my eyes and connect with my body and really be able to decide if it's the right thing to do. I was so busy at that week. I knew that I wouldn't create space to do it. And so, the end of the week passed, and the following week, when I did have time to actually sit through it and really consider it, I ultimately made the decision it wasn't the right thing, and I let her know that. But this is what I'm talking about, is like sometimes, we get these things where we kind of are like, oh my gosh, like if I don't get it now, I'm never going to get it. Who cares? It might not be aligned for you. And then the thing is, this other person creating urgency around it when you're not ready is a message that this is not the right thing for you. It's not a message that you should jump on board. Now, it could be, but I will just tell you, more often than not, it's not. And so I would just be very aware of when things like that are coming up, where people are giving you this like feeling like you're going to miss out on some sort of breakthrough or leap forward if you don't act immediately. My belief is, if you spend money on something it's not aligned for you, you're not going to get the benefit out of it that you think you will, and you're not going to get the satisfaction and enjoyment out of it. And this is even true with like physical products, right? I have a really hard time when people are just like randomly buying things because they're on sale. People can do that with their own money, but I don't do that. This is another thing I don't do. I will not buy something just because it's on sale. If there's something I want and it happens to be on sale, I will usually buy it at that time because I'm like, oh, I already wanted this thing or this shirt or these pants or whatever. But I do not buy things just because they're on sale, right? And there's a big difference there. Like, I'm the kind of person, I would rather pay full price for something, knowing that I made the decision in an aligned, calm space and have decided this is the thing for me, not from a space of spending money because it feels urgent. Nothing is really very urgent. It's just not. And so this is really what I'm talking about, is being aware of where am I spending money that I don't need to. And the amount of people that tell me that they have done coaching programs that were not aligned for them it's a lot. And I've only ended up in one program. I think the program was a great program actually, and I did get a lot out of it. But the interesting thing was, this was several years ago. I feel like I knew I shouldn't have done it. Like, I knew the timing wasn't right. There was something telling me, like, that maybe the timing wasn't right, but I was feeling a sense of urgency and fear. Like, if I don't do this now, think of all the money I'm going to be missing out on in the interim, right? Like, if I don't implement these things in my business. And like at the end of the program, I ended up not utilizing any of the things that we learned. It was really good in the sense that I learned a lot about what I didn't want to do in my business. And the person that ran it is awesome. And she's an amazing resource, and like her programs are really great. And so like it wasn't worthless by any means, but I will say like there was a part of me after that was like, oh, I should have waited, I should have given it more time. And that was just a really good learning experience for me, of really being like, I should have listened to my body and not to my mind. And this is what I'm talking about is, when somebody else is creating, like when you're starting to feel fear around a purchase, just being like, what is this? And so, there are energetic consequences to doing this. When you're making decisions about money around fear, you override your inner knowing, you're outsourcing your power to somebody else's timeline, which I absolutely refuse to do. There's exceptions again, but very rarely will I do that. Or you buy things that you hope are going to fix you rather than things that actually align with your next step. And so, trying to prevent people from spending money in places where really things aren't aligned for them, this will help, and it will help you save money, and it will help you make more aligned choices with money. But then there's this thing of internal urgency, right? When we create pressure on ourselves to do things, and we will spend money when really we don't need to, or maybe we don't need to yet because we are being impatient. And so I would be also aware of where you are creating urgency for yourself. Like, if you have a desire to do something or change something and you're impatient about it, it's going to force you into making impulsive decisions, especially around money, and wanting to get a shortcut instead of getting rid of just the uncomfortable feeling that's coming up, right? So a lot of times when we're spending money in business, not always, but sometimes it's around fear. It's like, oh, if I don't do this, thing isn't going to happen. Or it's like, we constantly go through and we think we have to keep doing these things in order to continue to earn money. And sometimes that's true and sometimes it's not. It depends on your business. It depends on what you're selling. It depends on a lot of things. But I think particularly when it comes to coaching programs, again, I'm just going to use this as an example. A lot of people, like, they'll go into these programs and they think people are going to fix things. Like, oh, I have this problem, things aren't feeling good, or I'm not making enough money and I just need someone to fix it. When you make decisions from that place, it's not going to be aligned. It's just never going to be aligned. When you're making decisions from a place of, yes, I want to change things, and yes, I'm going to make an aligned decision, not based on urgency, but based on something that feels right, that is going to have a much bigger impact on your business and on your bottom line and on your money than anything. And so, like this wanting to fix my business urgency because you're panicked or stuck is going to create misalignment. You're really like making purchases out of fear as opposed to the vision or the mission of your business. And that's not really where you want to be. So, trying to be a certain kind of entrepreneur or person right now, as opposed to just recognizing that you may need to give it time, and you may need to find things that are in alignment with you before you just start spending a bunch of money to feel like you're leveling up rather than actually leveling up. And so a couple of questions I would have you consider if this is coming up for you, if you recognize that this is something that you do, or you make decisions from a place of fear, scarcity, fear of missing out, fear of whatever the thing is, fear of, oh, this program's never going to be available again, is what feeling am I trying to avoid right now? Because that's usually what's coming up. You're usually trying to avoid something, or there is a feeling that you have that's super uncomfortable. And so I would really, before you even go down the road of buying something, allowing yourself space to make decisions that are aligned, right? So what feeling am I trying to avoid right now? If this offer didn't expire, would I still want it? And I have another example of this. Actually, this relates to another coaching program. I had a woman for a long time that I wanted to do a program with, and I knew I wanted to do a program with her. I just knew it wasn't the right time. And there was for several months, probably 6 to 9 months, I was like, I definitely feel like I want to do something with her, but I need to wait until it feels right. And what does that mean? It means just Like, when you know, when you become more connected with your body, when you know. Okay, so in the summer, it was actually the summer of this year, I became more like, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I want to maybe like feel into this a little bit more. So I started reaching out to her and asking her some questions, and she had a program she was running. And this very scenario came up where she was offering the program, and she basically said, this is the lowest I'm ever going to offer this. Great. That's good information to have. But I did not buy from her at that time. And the reason was because I said, I can't do another group program. I can't. I had told myself that I was going to give myself space and time from programs for a while because I was feeling, I don't know, just like I didn't really want to do it and I needed a break from it. But her program was very different from any other program I've ever done. And so I knew I would want to do it. I just needed to get myself, more time before it felt right. So I did not buy with her just because it was at a discount. For me, I would rather pay full price for something and have it be aligned than pay less for something and not get as much out of it because it was not the right timing. So back to this question, if this offer didn't expire, would I still want it? The answer for me in that situation was yes, I did still want it, but I decided not to purchase from her at that time because the thought of going into a group program made me feel sick, literally sick to my stomach. I was like, I can't. I couldn't stomach the thought of having to add an additional thing into my calendar at that time, a weekly meeting, homework, stuff like that. I was like, no. So then I waited. A couple months later, she's running the same program. It was more expensive. I don't care. I don't really know how much, but it was the right time for me, even though it was a couple months apart. The thing is, if I had done it earlier for just the sake of saving money, I know for a fact I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. I just know that. So to me, saving, I don't know what it was, maybe it was like $1,000 or something, it's not worth it. And that's the mindset I want people to get out of. Saving money sometimes is not worth it, right? Don't allow other people's timelines and other people's urgency to force you into spending money that you don't or want to be spending right now. So for me, this question, if this offer didn't expire, would I still want it? Yes. And I did the program with her. I paid more than I would have paid before. It was a great experience. I loved it. And at the end, I knew I made the right decision because I don't make decisions always based on money. I make them based on how I feel. And this is what people need to stop doing. Stop making decisions based on money. Sometimes decisions need to be based on money, but not everything. Most things don't. And when you stop making decisions based on money, it will actually help you more with money. You'll spend less and you'll make more aligned decisions with your money in terms of purchasing and investing and all of those things and what you do in your business. So another question, is this aligned with the person I'm wanting to become, or is this just a way to escape discomfort? Really asking yourself, is this thing that I'm going to buy, is this aligned with who I am becoming? If this is aligned with a prior version of yourself or with somebody else's idea of what you're supposed to be doing in your personal life or business life, stop. And this is a harder thing, I think, to try to figure out is, why are you doing this? Sometimes we're doing things because other people are telling us we need to do them. Instead of deciding for ourselves, is this aligned for me or not? And then the fourth question I would ask myself is, do I actually have the capacity for this right now? That could be financially, emotionally, energetically, from a time perspective. For me, looking back, I didn't have the capacity to take on another group program. I didn't want to do it. I could have done it, of course. You always have time. You can always make time for things that you want to make time for. But the thing was, I wasn't willing to make time for it because I just didn't have the space for it. And I could feel it in my body. Again, I felt really sick when I thought about having to commit to a weekly call and doing homework and just being in another group space. It just felt really misaligned for me. And so, just waiting a couple months made such an enormous difference in how I felt when I actually did that program. And that's what I want you to be aware of. Saving money is not always worth it. It actually might be the very thing that will be harmful to you. If you're doing something or buying something when it's not the right time, spending extra money at a later point in time can honestly get you more further ahead financially. And people don't realize that. They get so caught up in the dollars and cents of things. I really don't. There's a lot of times where I don't make decisions about money. If something is like more expensive than what I would normally spend, I don't get caught up in the money. I go to my body and I say, how does this feel when I think about spending this money on this thing? It's not about the money. It's about how you feel when you're spending the money. It's about how you feel when you're doing the thing that you're going to be doing after you spend the money. And that's why people make such bad decisions with money, because they're making decisions solely based on the economics. There are some things that I personally believe have to be made based on the economics, like whether or not to invest or pay off certain types of debt. Like that to me is a straight economic question. But most other decisions, I do not make them based on money. The money is irrelevant. The cost is irrelevant. It's what I'm getting out of it. It's how it's going to make me feel. It's how I feel in this moment. And again, I refuse to spend money just because other people are creating urgency. And that's, again, even with just purchasing small ticket item things like clothes, shoes, things like this, you guys, stop just spending money because things are on sale. If you need the thing and it happens to be on sale, great. But don't just buy something because it's on sale. This is like that girl math kind of like thing where it's like that we're used to seeing. It's like, oh, well, if something's on sale, like, oh, I spent this for this, so I basically got it for free. Like those things do make me laugh, but also stop spending money on things that you don't need just because it's on sale or because somebody's like, this is the last time we're going to be making this shoe. Who cares? They're just shoes. And this is about bringing power back to your life. No coach, no program, no discount or tactic gets to dictate how you spend your money and when you spend it. You decide how you're spending it, not other people, not the urgency being created around it. And if you create this urgency for other people, again, I think that's okay, but I would also be very mindful of the energy that you have around it. There's a very different energy of like, I'm going to market this way because I'm trying to make money, and I'm trying to market this way because I'm actually trying to help people and get them into this space at a discount, because I actually am going to be changing my prices, right? A lot of people do these tactics and then they keep their prices the same. So, just be more mindful about that kind of stuff too. I mean, these tactics work. And if you use them in your business and they work, keep doing it. But I would just be aware of the energy that you have around it. Because when you're creating urgency for other people, I do think it creates scenarios where you're bringing in clients that are actually not aligned for you. So, how to avoid this urgency and save more money, which is, number one, making more aligned purchases. Stop buying things just to fix everything. Choosing based on readiness, not on pressure. Making quality decisions over quality outcomes, right? Like being focused on the decision in the moment and not what you think it's necessarily going to get you, because you don't always know. And if it doesn't feel right in the moment, the outcome is never going to be what you think it is. I can guarantee that. The amount of people that have done coaching programs and they're like, that wasn't aligned for me. Sometimes that's just unavoidable, but I do think if people were more conscious of, is this person aligned for me and is this truly aligned for my business? And they sat down with their body and really considered it from that perspective, as opposed to just being like, I need a fix, I need to do this right away. It would save them the time, money, and torture of having to go through these programs and realize that they're not aligned for them. And you're actually making choices from clarity, not just from fear or scarcity. And the more that you make spending decisions out of alignment, it's going to help with your confidence, and the urgency becomes kind of a non-issue. It's just going to fade. That fear goes away. You become a conscious creator and not a reactive spender. And that's kind of what this goes to, as being a reactive spender, right? You're just like, somebody's telling you, oh, it's only available at this price, and you're just reacting, being like, okay, I'm going to buy it. Don't buy into that stuff, you guys, please. That doesn't mean you shouldn't buy stuff. It just means you should give more consideration to it than just buying it because it's discounted. Sometimes things are discounted because they're not good. Sorry, that's true though. That can happen with services, which is one of the reasons I don't actually discount my services really anymore very, very often. I will sometimes, but I do it very rarely now, because it just doesn't, I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't feel right to me, and I don't like having to create that urgency for people. I know that if people are aligned for me, they're going to come work with me, and they're going to pay the price, whatever it is, discount or not. So, in addition to the questions that I just gave you, here's a couple of things that you could also do. This is a 3-step framework, which is pause, feel, and decide, right? So when you are confronted with urgency, having enough awareness to stop and just pause. Like if you're at the mall and you were thinking about buying something on a discount, walk out of the store or go sit outside for just a second and close your eyes. Take a couple deep breaths and feel. So pause and then feel and then decide. Pausing interrupts the urgency response. Feeling lets you check what emotion is present. Is it fear? Is it fear of missing out, lack, insecurity, desire, expansion, whatever? And then after you've paused and you feel actually the emotion, then you can decide from a grounded place, not from a pressured place, not from, I have to do this now. Right? If somebody has you on the phone on a coaching call and they tell you, I need to know right now, and it doesn't feel right, just say, I'm sorry, I can't decide today. Right? You have to start putting your foot down and having boundaries around these things. Otherwise, you're never going to change this cycle. Most people don't do that. But here's the thing. If you know, like the other thing I would say is you need to know how you best make decisions, right? And if human design can help you dig into this more, I know for me, something I've always known about myself is that I'm actually a very quick decision maker, but I very rarely make decisions like right in the moment. Sometimes I do, but I need a little bit of time to think about and feel into the decision before I make it. And that is consistent with my human design. So that's another place where if you're not sure how you best make decisions, get some information about your human design, because that will tell you how you best make decisions, and it will probably confirm for you the way that you've either have been making decisions, or if you haven't been making them that way and you feel like you're making a lot of misaligned decisions, it will help you get very grounded and more confident in what you need to be able to make a decision so that you can actually let people know that, right? So somebody selling a service, not all of us who are potentially buyers are going to respond the same way, because we all have such different design. We all have such different ways that we make decisions. And just being able to say, look, I best make decisions X, and I'm going to need, 3 days to get back to you or whatever. And if they say no, then it's not aligned. Nothing else needs to happen, right? So this is about like recognizing the messages and not continuing to push and be like, oh, well, is this aligned? Is this aligned? If you have said to somebody, I need this amount of time to make a decision, and they basically tell you no, it's not aligned. I can almost tell you there's very few situations where I think that would ultimately be aligned. It might be, but being aware of you do not have to make a decision, right? If this person, they just may not be the person for you, and you can find somebody else that can do the same thing. And in fact, if you say no, you might find something much better that comes along. This is the thing that people don't realize about when they're creating urgency around situations. They're like, oh, this person's not going to be available again. Who cares? There's 8 billion people on the planet and a lot of really talented people who can do a lot of things. I assure you there's somebody else that can help you with this problem that you have, or can provide this thing that you need. You just have to be willing to say no to this urgency that somebody is creating for you and find something that's aligned. And it just takes practice like everything else. So urgency is a message. When you are feeling urgency around something that you want to do, or if somebody else is creating it for you, being aware. This is a message. It does not mean that you have to move just because somebody else is telling you you need to. You choose the time that you spend your money on things, when you do things. And this will help you, I think, reflect on some of your next purchases if you practice this, whether it's with just simple things that you're buying, like at the store or the mall, or with big purchases, even like cars, coaching packages, vacations, things like that. Just being more aware of things are not just going to go away. And if they do, they're probably not the right thing for you. So I hope this is really helpful for you. I hope that you can start to become aware of where a lot of urgency is being manufactured in your life, where really no urgency exists. It's going to help you save money, I guarantee you. And it's going to help you that when you are making purchases, they're going to feel better. One of the things that people have a hard time with money is they make these purchases and then they have regret about it after. I mean, that could be from a lot of things, but I can tell you sometimes that happens because purchases are just not aligned. People are not being thoughtful and feeling into whether or not this is the right thing for them. So just really being aware about, when other people are using these tactics to try to get you to spend money. Yes, it is their business. Yes, that probably works, but also being aware of like, hey, I'm going to make this decision on my timeline, not on yours. And other people need to be, they need to be respectful of that, right? If somebody said to me, I don't know, I need time to make a decision, I'd be like, sure. Would I follow up with them? Yeah, but I'm not going to ever push people to do things. That's just not the way that I work. And my belief is if something is aligned, it will happen. And if it is not, it will not. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day. Bye. Hey, before you go, would you love to receive my 3-step masterclass to easily create and hold wealth for free? It's called Effortless Money, and it includes the exact framework to start attracting money effortlessly and manifesting abundance with more ease. If you want it for free, all you have to do is leave an honest review of the Wealth Embodied podcast, take a screenshot of this episode and put it in your Instagram stories and tag me at Brianna_Faringer, and we will send you the free Effortless Money Masterclass. This is how my clients have manifested a $13,000 check, a promotion resulting in a $30,000 salary increase, and significantly improved relationships. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time on the Wealth Embodied podcast.